Welcome to Mixternal Messaging. I'm your host, Cynthia Hayes, and today I'm joined by Poonam Nath. Poonam is the Executive Leader of Product Operations at Fiserv. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. All right. So tell me a little bit about your background. What do you do? What are you into? Where do you sit in the company?
Yeah, sure. So my background is got a finance degree, economics and finance, but I kind of moved away from being in the FP&A finance area and moved into pricing, more of the go-to-market, and now in product operations. And in Fiserv, I am within the enterprise side of the business for merchant services. And in the area of client experience, positive client experience, and intuit between the clients and the product teams, seeing what's working, what's not working, how do we help the product teams to improve on their product offerings.
Okay, yeah, so nothing major, just everything to do with successful product launches.
And client experience of being it positive for sure that they've gotten what we said that we would give to them.
Yes, that's a huge part of it. Yeah. So talk me through all the different groups. You've mentioned the client experience, but there's different stakeholders even within that group. So talk to me about all the different people you interact with and maybe what their concerns are.
Sure. So first, obviously, the client is over there when they're gone into production or onboarding and production. Then what is their experience and how are they going and through the things over there? How do they interact with us when they have some service or technical issues? So the client is obviously one of the major stakeholders from outside. Yes. But internally, there are multiple teams. There is the product operations team for technical, for managing the day-to-day technical issues. Then there is obviously the development team in technology too. Then there is sales coming in and saying, hey, you have these customers, we have this pipeline. So onboarding side of things that would be happening. Then obviously we have the product go-to-market teams that we work with. We have audit, we have compliance, and multiple different teams based on the kind of initiatives you're working on that you will have in the internal stakeholders.
And you're serving as like a point of contact to make sure all these different stakeholders have the information they need.
I'm driving the strategy. I'm making sure that what we are got in an initiative, we drive that to the end. And in that process, making sure that everybody's aligned and knows what is happening, when is it happening. I work with project management teams too. So the point is that you're making sure where we are for what initiative and how is that status, any roadblock solutions that we need is being communicated to the main stakeholders internally.
With that huge challenge and responsibility, what are some of the common misalignments, or where do some of the breakdowns tend to happen when you're working with these teams?
What I've noticed over my career, right, not just here, is everywhere, is when there is initiative, even if you're like working with the internal stakeholder and everybody's aligned in the beginning and things are happening the way they should be happening, the biggest thing that I've seen as a breakdown is there will be teams that will have a people who make up their own little block and say, no, we cannot do this, or this cannot happen, the naysayers. Okay. Not always these naysayers will come back with a solution. And then that comes where, okay, this is now something difficult for me. How do I do and get this resolved without having, hey, the C-suite leaders come in and say, hey, get this done.
Yes,
right?
Without escalating it.
Yeah, I don't want to escalate things. And so that's where I've noticed the biggest thing is that you're thinking you're all aligned, you have the right work streams, but suddenly you're like, okay, why is this not happening? Where is this? So a lot of homework falls on me to go back and try and find out why are they saying no? What can I do to help to make them turn it around? And working with them, proposing solutions to them. That's a big thing, is how do I take the information and say, okay, this is, why not do this? How can we do this? What about a short-term thing? What about this? So working in that. So I think that's the thing, that irrespective of how much you are working towards, and there's no project, no initiative will go without certain kind of hurdles.
Yes, for sure. And I think I love your approach on asking questions, right? Yeah. It's like, have we considered this? What about this route? But that requires you to have done some research in order to present even a feasible option for them, right? Yeah. And engaging in those conversations takes a lot of time and energy.
It does, but that's why these kind of roles is with people who have got some kind of experience in the industry, know what things are there where we can kind of ask the right questions, understand the ecosystem of the company you're with and the product offering. And so there's where, you can say, okay, what about doing this? What about doing, a short-term solution to get it there, while then with no client impact moving into this,
Right.
So in that manner. But there are a lot of internal things and dynamics you need to consider.
For sure. And a lot of different personalities to navigate along the way
exactly.
too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that is there.
Always with any product or any team you're working with and engaged with, for sure. Do you run across like common blind spots that different team members have? Or is it more everyone's just really focused on their lane and their piece of the pie and you're moving things along? What does that look like?
I think what it is exactly what you said. The second thing, everybody is doing what they have to do to get the deliverables met in a certain time frame. It is someone like me or a project manager who are working together to make sure that everything is connecting and there's not a disconnect. And that's where your weekly status meetings come in, right? You have all these work streams, but you have the weekly status meetings, and then you have the roadmap, and you have what is the RAG status, right? Red, amber, green. Like, what are those particular work streams that are not still at the timeline we said they should be? And then whatever comes out of that is what is then presented as a summary to the senior leadership, the executive leadership.
To let everyone know where everything is, how it's going. Because
at
the end of the day, they want to make sure everything's on track. And
exactly. They don't want to hear this can't happen. They want to hear, okay, if this is red, what is it that you're doing? If this is orange, what is it that you're doing, right? And so it's keeping everyone aligned, but we're having a lot of sidebar conversations, work streams, working sessions with them going on with that.
Yeah, high accountability across the board for everyone.
Definitely.
Do you find yourself constantly recasting the vision for this product, or like what is your voice in those moments?
Yeah, I mean, it's every time we are on a work stream, you have to revisit what is it we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing, and where are we on the tasks that we set. So breaking down the tasks and making sure that they understand the task and why those tasks are there. Sometimes people will not speak up, right? I don't know why, but it is like that. And then suddenly you'll be down a certain path and suddenly like, oh, this is happening too. Okay, now what do we do?
Yes.
So it's constant making sure you're working with these work stream nearly even on a daily basis too, if depending on what stage of the initiative you are at. But it's very important to be hands-on in these kind of initiatives and making sure everybody's seeing the same thing and where it's going and why.
That is really important. I mean, we see that too, and just in the marketing firm world, it's like making sure clients are aligned with the expectations are being met by the internal teams and that the internal teams are aligned on the why, because every team is going to have to navigate nuances and make choices in the moment given, right? But if they understand the why at the end of it or what we're trying to accomplish, they're more empowered to make those decisions themselves rather than letting it go off track or just stop work altogether because they don't see a way around it.
No, and that happens sometimes. So you have to be constantly on top of it, not forcing them, not pushing them, but working with them.
Collaboratively, yes. We're in this together. Let's find a solution.
Exactly.
It's a very helpful approach. All right, we're going to pause here for a little break, and then we'll come back and we'll dig into more communications.
Sure.
Stay tuned. I'm Cynthia Hayes, and this is Mixternal Messaging.
Mixternal Messaging, Marcom that roars, is brought to you by Liger. Tired of your brand message being a whimper instead of a roar? Mixternal Messaging cracks the code on the secret weapon of B2B success, uniting your internal and external brand narrative. We're taking deep dives into the challenges and strategies to craft a message that resonates, both inside your company and with your clients. No fluff, no theory, just real stories and actionable insights from the trenches. We'll be interviewing marketing and communication rock stars, hearing their triumphs and struggles in the world of mixternal messaging, across industries from tech to healthcare. Ready to make your brand roar? Tune in to Mixternal Messaging, Marcom that roars, a Liger podcast. For more information, visit ligerpartners.com and follow us on our social media.
Welcome back to Mixternal Messaging. I'm your host, Cynthia Hayes, and today I'm joined by Poonam Nath. She is the Executive Leader, Product Operations at Fiserv, and we are talking all things internal and external communications in your world. Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about how you ensure that what the client experiences at the end of the day matches what your employees would say is true about the brand that you work with.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is that when you deliver a product to the clients, right, you're going to get feedback, whether it's like through some tech issues or servicing issues that they're having, or we notice that they're not getting to a certain kind of achievement what they want, and there is feedback. And the feedback comes whether it is real time, like they're calling and saying, hey, we are having this issue, or it is through different kind of feedback sources, like whether it is NPS score, Net Promoter Score, long-term retainment score of the customers, or it is through the CSAT, customer satisfaction scores. All these things will give you data back. And it is then up to us to look at the data and say, okay, is this matching what we said we would be giving them? Yeah. If not, what is the enhancement? What are the changes that have to be made, whether it's process related, whether it's technology related? But we work using data. That's the best way to obviously get to know.
Right. Then you're solving the right problems.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. What is repetitive? Yes. What is it one time? Is it just a bug? Or is it like a true enhancement?
Yes. Yes. With that, it kind of gets me thinking about like the employees then are seeing you respond to the client needs, yes. Right? And that to them, they can then go out in the world and say, yes, we put our clients first. Yes, we care about the feedback. Yeah. Like they can reinforce that messaging, right?
Yeah. And that's overall in all of the fintech, that's the way a lot of enhancements happen too.
Is with their help, the client's help and the internal teams responding. And I would imagine that sparks, we didn't even think about that, right? New ideas internally about what the next like V2 could look like for a product.
Yeah, I think it's also from the competitive landscape. But the main thing is, are we delivering what we said we would deliver? And so that's going back to that, okay, if it is not, that's the feedback. But otherwise, when you're doing anyways in the competitive landscape, you know what the trends are, you know what is going to be happening in the future, what the demand is. And so you're working, and you're always working towards new product offerings, enhancements, because of what you are seeing in the market.
How do you, it's so valuable to do that and to be tracking along and looking at those nuances. How do you bridge that with the C-suite and maybe their expectations and what they may be wanting the company to introduce? How does that work for Fiserv?
Again, Fiserv is there, but again, these kind of things are common
universal,
across all the whole of fintech side. Those are there. I think what main thing is this: the C-suite leadership is in the knowing. In many cases, they are always getting input and feedback, whether it's out there through the market, or it is internal, seeing what the trends are, what are the issues, what are the things that is not being served. They have a close connection always with the product teams, very close connections with the product teams. And in that case, when they have that, many times it's in sync, and a lot of time the product strategy reflects the business strategy.
Yes.
So and how you're going to get into the market, right? Yeah. What's the go-to-market? What is the role of this product offering going to be in the market? Is something that will align always with the business strategy.
Right, and how you're differentiating it from anything your competitors are doing.
Yeah.
Like understanding the nuances there.
Yeah.
Different pain points you're solving.
Yep.
Okay. All right, nice. So have you ever had to maybe course correct or realign teams? Talk to me a little bit about some of your experience with that.
Yeah. The course correction happens more like, it's going to be there when you have an initiative going on. And again, as I mentioned earlier, there's a camp that says, hey, we just can't do this, this is not there, or it's going to take so long to get it done, right? And so the course correction is the point that we are saying, hey, this is the roadmap, this is where we're going to be going, this is how the time frame is, and suddenly there's a block, right? And that is where you're either going to say with these teams, these folks, that, hey, let's work together, let's find a solution, and if not, why not, right? And then you're truly taking the fact that if you're not going to meet and deliverable, there will be client impact, there will be revenue impact. And then you have to present that to the exec leadership, and sometimes it may not be in your control, but you have to then present it and let them decide what the next steps are if this is something totally impossible. I haven't ever faced that. We have been able to manage it ahead with any kind of course correction, any kind of, if it's a short-term solution versus if it is a technology thing versus we have to delay it by a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's fine. But sometimes you just can't take it all onto yourself if there is a big major roadblock.
Right, and there may be several options, and it depends on the preference of those.
How do we all align on that? And but that takes the point of being very much in communication constantly with the teams.
Yes, making sure everyone's aligned up to that moment.
Yeah.
These are our options. Here are the, forecasted impact of choosing A over B.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. What's the client experience? What is it that we want delivered? And your revenue retention impact too.
Yeah. So have there been cases of like really having to reevaluate the communication, like based on like crisis moments or operational breakdowns? Have you had some projects that have gone
definitely
that
and
way?
Again, it's not in my current role, but in my previous roles that was there, crisis moments have been where there's a major outages, and how do you go about communicating if it's not being fixed in a timely manner.
Yes.
The point is with external communication, it is like you're trying to mitigate an impact, whether it's process, whether it's a merger or divestiture, like with that, like you are trying to reflect to the client, we have it under control, we are working towards it, and there'll be minimal impact to you. Internally, it's all hands-on. You have to be working together and making sure that we are resolving real time these things, these impacts, whether it's a process change, whether it is a outage that you're trying to fix. All that has to be managed internally, all hands-on, and externally you're showing a picture that is true, which is that we are working towards minimal impact to you. Yes. And it has to be a BAU process that is going to be there for you immediately.
That transparency is really key, because in a vacuum, people will make up their own stories about what you're doing or not doing.
Yeah, exactly. The communication has to be ongoing with your client and internally too.
Yes. What an important role, what a pivotal role you sit in.
I enjoy it. I do. It sometimes comes very hard, but it is an enjoyable role.
Yes, I would imagine when you actually see that launch and start getting that positive feedback from a product, how rewarding that must be.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, we are coming to a close, but before we go, I want to ask you an important question. Liger wants to be known. We like to make our clients known. We like people to be known for their greatness and who they are. So I would like to know, Poonam, what would you like to be known for?
I think I'll repeat what people have told me, that what is it that are, my strengths. And I think what I like to be known for is the fact that I assess situations very fast. And having assessed them, I always have some kind of business solution and a strategy that is very much executable through the team and the collaboration.
Nice. What great affirmation that you're hearing that about yourself, and it aligns with who you want to be.
Yeah, to be known for, that's true.
Yeah, that's lovely. Congratulations. Well, thank you so much for joining me. This has been fun. I always learn a lot. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. I enjoyed it too.
And thank you for joining me on Mixternal Messaging. I'll see you next time.